This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.
Community Preservation Act meeting of April 16th. Can everybody just announce how they were appointed? Tom Brunner, are you here yet? Mary, how are you?
Mary Church, Housing Authority.
Vera?
Parks and Rec Commission.
Ken, I left you on Planning Board. Tom Peak, are you here, Tom? He's not here. He's a City Council Representative Finance. Dan Rist, City Council. Greg Rowland isn't here. Jay?
Jay Ryan, Conservation Commission.
Scott?
Scott Kavanaugh, Mayor's appointee.
Okay. May I have a motion to approve the minutes? We have to do both of these,
We don't have any minutes yet. Those minutes, they're not yet finalized.
312 and 319.
Mhm.
So we have no minutes to approve. Public speak. Anybody here wants to speak on anything other than the dog park or the on fishing cliff? Okay, all set. Communication, city officials, Eva. Greg is here.
In person, in the flesh.
Welcome back from France.
Really?
I'll
All
leave
good?
them under available
Everything good?
projects and balances.
Let's do that then.
Okay, great. I will go ahead and share our spreadsheets. We'll start with the available balance spreadsheet.
You get Ask Gemini off the screen.
Yep, for sure. Pops up every time, no matter how much you try to get rid of it. Right, so here we have our available balances for FY 2026. Make these maybe a little smaller so we can see more. We still see that okay?
Yeah, I can.
Okay, great. All right, so lines 16 through 23 show all of the appropriations that this committee has recommended to the City Council so far in FY 2026. The final two, the additional Valley CDC mortgage subsidies and the library annex renovation design, are from Q3 and have been recommended by both this committee and the Finance Committee to the full council. They will be reviewed in their second hearing next week. So assuming those two go through, our available balances before our fourth quarter pending applications are line 28 in the orange.
Full amount of 768,000.
Yes,
Affordable housing is one.
we've spent it. And just a reminder for the committee and the public that any of the four projects can be spent, any of the four categories of projects can be spent out of the undesignated or reserve accounts.
Dan, could you have someone let me into the meeting? Hey, Tom Peak.
There's
See him.
Tom is not here.
I'll see him.
So
You're.
refer him to the link in the agenda, or I just sent it via email. We have not received any preliminary possible first quarter FY 27 information. Do the committee members want to see anything else on this sheet?
Anybody else?
All good.
Awesome. Great. Now we'll turn over to our open project balances. I haven't received a general ledger report in a little bit of time, so not too much has changed. A couple notes about projects moving forward. I'll note that the Treehouse Support of Affordable Housing, we finalized their grant contract over the winter, and they have just submitted their request for the full invoice of $200,000 to support their renovation as outlined in their FY 2023 application to this committee. So that project has moved forward. All of their other funding pieces have come into place, and they are ready to utilize their full $200,000 to complete their project. Similarly, the 385 Main Street Growing Green project, that support of affordable housing for the purchase of the parcel.
Can you make it bigger? Here's John. Hi, John.
So the 385 Growing Green project, that support of affordable housing. We are also in the process of finalizing the grant contract language, and they intend to close on that parcel very shortly. Their permitting at this point is all in place.
Can you look at the people? He says he clicked on. He's not getting in. Is there?
Yes, now he's here. Thank you.
Is there any way to check?
Yep, I got him.
Oh, you did get him.
Should be on his way in.
That sounds funny. Should be on his way in.
Yay, Tom made it.
Thank you, Tom. Sorry about that.
It's all good. Just so you know, there's a different link on the agenda on the website.
I
Happen
believe
again.
so. I think the agenda that was posted has the correct link. However, the agenda, the link that Marianne or whomever uploaded like digitally so that it's posted is the incorrect link. I believe that's an old link of ours. So,
I see. Okay.
thanks, Tom.
I have a question if you're done.
I have a couple more projects to
Okay,
update on.
go ahead.
I know that Ferry Street Affordable Housing has shared a project report for us. We'll go ahead and project that. I dropped this in the folder today, so this is new. Essentially, they intend to begin construction fourth quarter of FY 26. So they're moving along. They have withdrawn most of their pre-construction. If the committee members remember, this was $500,000 for this project, $100,000 in pre-construction costs, and then $400,000 towards the actual construction. So the pre-construction costs have almost completed at this point. The pre-construction tasks associated with those costs, and they are ready to begin construction. The $400,000 won't be withdrawn until construction is underway. Yeah, there's a lot of updates. I mean, we're at the beginning of construction season, so it makes sense. I have the update on the skate park I have is that we are in the midst of the permitting process through Conservation Commission. There's a lot of movement there. They will have their final design documents by the end of June. Hopefully we'll be all permitted and ready to begin construction at the start of the next fiscal year. And the Nashwanik Pond retaining wall, we had our pre-construction finance and contract meeting earlier today. And that is also set to go to construction in June. So a lot of movement on a lot of our CPA projects, have a lot to be proud of here. And it'll be exciting to see all these things funded over the last several years come to fruition.
Can you go back to being the city space? I think there's a misunderstanding there. As I talked about, I think there's money in the bank.
So the remaining city space amount for phase 2 is $1 million, $1,001,216.08. That's after their most recent invoice. I can actually show this other tab. It might be useful for the committee members to see. We have been steadily paying phase 2 Old Town Hall invoices.
Okay, go back.
Since the project. Yep.
So to be clear, Tom and Greg will remember this. The total amount is 3,959. That's the construction amount.
Yes, so that might be an old estimate of the phase 2 total construction amount.
We had a phase 1, I think it was 500,000. And we had an approval for a bond from city council. Am I right, Tom? For something like 22.5 million or 3 million? But that was removed. Mayor LaChapelle asked that that be removed to help with bonding because we were saving 250,000 every year for many, many years, right? So they're thinking there's money left after the phase 2 project. There isn't any money.
This committee does not have any current obligation, non-expired project funding agreement to fund city space beyond the $2.152 million outlined in phase 2.
They said 3.5 million was approved by council, but I think that includes the bond and we never bonded. So that's why they asked that question, because Burns Maxey asked me because they needed money to get the phase 3 designs done. And we don't have it. Okay.
Can you clarify what the match amount listed in the spreadsheet is?
This match amount for Old Town Hall.
Yeah, who matched it? Do you know?
Pull up the project. And as I said, that might be an old number. This project has continued to expand in cost. So that might be
I remember being in a talk where Ed Markey was here. I think it was federal, sorry.
The committee wish to see anything else on open project updates?
No, I don't need it. Anybody else? Good. God, John, Tom, no? Okay. Move on.
Yes.
Let's have the dog park presentation. And she'll call it up.
I'm Joan Kurtz, president of Friends of Easthampton Dog Park. I'd like to take the opportunity to thank you for allowing us to do the presentation and to thank you for the original funding last year for the design engineer. Today's just going to be a quick review of some of the slides I used last time and an explanation as to why we're asking for 135,000 and not 175,000 as we originally thought. So we're a non-for-profit both in Massachusetts and a 501c3 for the United States IRS with over 450 community and neighboring members.
Joan. Can you guys hear Joan? Scott, you can hear her okay? Okay, thank you. Go ahead, Joan.
And we have some letters of support from some former and present commissioners, both from City Council. Commissioners operating and their own safe recreation association. And we have been working with Parks and Rec to work out a memorandum of understanding to decide how we're going to maintain the funding for it, as well as maintain the actual park itself. John created a memorandum, sent it to us. The board reviewed it, made some changes with John. It's back in John's lap, and then he will make some changes. We'll go back and forth until we make sure it's all covered. So, again, this is what the park is going to look like. So, up here is the pool. This is restroom pavilion 3.
Uh-huh.
This is the road that will take you to the soccer field, football courts, and everything else. 1.5 acres, large dog park, small dog park. You'll have ADA compliant parking right in the front of it. We're leaving trees around the fencing, so it's a buffer for both the dogs and the people. So that if there are children outside, they won't be able to see the park as much as they won't be able to see the other way. We have way stations, we have water stations, we have benches. And all of this will be is what we need the rest of the funding for. We have questions about this.
Getting water from the that bathroom. Okay.
According to Bill Cannon, our design engineer, he said that's the best location to get it from.
Okay. And there's a small fence from the small dog park to the large dog park. That line is the fence right there.
This is the entranceway here. It's like an alcove. Everybody takes their leashes off in here. You open the fence to get into the lodge or open the fence to the small. You do not have a leash on a dog in any of those sections.
Okay. And as I recall, looking at the budget, there is a parking lot plan. Where is that? We have to-
We come down a little bit more. It's up here off of the road. Separates us from the. There were a couple of,
That's the parking lot right there.
this area here. There were a couple of picnic tables that were not being used, and John said we can remove those picnic tables.
Is that paved or just gravel?
Just like,
Mary?
I think it's across the street from the baseball park. Ballpark, where what the pavilion that you're talking about. Across the street behind the swimming pool is a baseball park.
okay,
Yeah, but that parking lot is,
And the parking lot that they're gonna use used to be a pavilion, but the location of that is across the street from the baseball park. If anybody's trying to.
I see the baseball.
Which one, Mary, are you speaking of? Which baseball?
The first one that you got to,
Yeah.
you go into the park, down the left-hand side, there's a parking, baseball.
I think I know what she's talking about. There is a pavilion.
Pavilion is across the street from the baseball, and there were some parking places there. But if they're gonna take down the pavilion, it'll just expand those parking spaces that are already there.
They're
So
not
that's a
taking
great
anything-
we're
idea.
not taking down any pavilions.
No, that's still gonna stay there.
They're just
Oh, okay.
getting rid of some picnic tables that were there, Mary, that they're not gonna use anymore.
Oh,
Right.
the outside ones, there's
Yeah,
outside
they were-
ones, oh, I see.
Not covered.
I thought they were gonna do the whole thing.
No, at all. So the pavilion 3 is down here, and this is the restrooms that the pool uses as well. ADA parking, so.
Where's the pool parking in this big map in relation to the dog park? Up that way a little bit, okay.
So right now, if you're driving to the pickleball courts and you pass through this restroom,
Mhm.
this is all wooded area.
Okay. I see you're leaving a lot of trees. That makes me happy.
Yeah, us too.
If you've been to the Holyoke Dog Park, there isn't a single tree. And if you go to South Hadley, the trees are all around the perimeter. And if you want to have dogs playing in the summertime, the dogs need the shade and the people need the shade. So yes, we're going to be, these are called signature trees. These are the big main trees that will stay. All of the brush, the shrubs that are dying, or the trees that have already fallen apart, those will be removed. But majority, and again, around the perimeter.
Love it. Beautiful.
Thank you.
Anybody else have questions of the map location or anything?
So the total for the dog park, once we made our adjustments, is 335,000, not 365,000. That's because we got 2 benches, 2 water stations, and the 3 race stations have been paid for by sponsors. That brought down a lot of
Very
that.
nice.
And we're not done yet. We still would like to get a couple more benches, so those will also be out there, mostly sponsors. And they get to have their little names on the plaque of the benches. So presently, these are the funds that we have. This was, we got, as a reminder, we got 200,000 from a generous benefactor, which we were able to put in some CDs to get more than just 30 cents for interest. We got 3%, 3.15%. So this is as of March. This is what we have, and 200,000 of that will go straight to Park and Rec for the construction. Back one.
Back one.
So For the amount that we're asking for, the 135,000, John Mason from Park and Rec wanted me to remind you, and to let you know, we don't need the funds right away. They'll be able to use the 200,000 to start the construction, and then I guess he will contact CPA to let them know when.
Take about a month or more to get these approved for city council, so. Plus, we have another month to wait before we vote on it, so it's 2 months.
Right. So he says he's not in a rush for it, so wait, like, just leave it to the side for the time being. So in order to be able to work with the memorandum of understanding, we're going to need to keep raising funds to keep the dog park going. But something different, we are sponsoring a pet food drive with the help of the Heavy Culture Cooperative. And the pet foods are going to the community center. This is our second drive, and figured what better for dog park people but to get some food collected, kitty litter, and it's from 10 to 2 at the old massage school. So every month we have something going on. We're going to be at Texas Roadhouse. If you go there between 4 and 9, 10% of all sales will come to the dog park. Bingo at a winery in June. Roundup, July. Big E says you can do Roundup. Anybody who goes and yes, be rounded up, pennies will go, and then you'll get that money, which will help us. Celebrate Southampton. A lot of our Southampton neighbors don't know there'll be a dog park in their neighborhood.
Sure, you want to tell them?
Yes, we do.
It's Southampton.
I don't know if you have a dog. I take my dog right now to South Hadley Dog Park. On my way out, I stop and get Dunkin' Donuts every time. So the city is getting money off someone who's not a resident. I'd love Southampton people to come in, walk up and down Carter Street and spend some money. So
We don't have a residence requirement for non-dog parks.
regardless, we're going to let our Southampton neighbors know about it. And of course, Nantucket Park has its annual Harvest Fest. We will be there too. So every month, the Friends of Easthampton Dog Park is out there trying to raise funds.
When is it supposed to be finished?
What?
When do you expect it to be finished?
According to John, 2027.
That long?
Spring, yeah.
Well,
Spring.
you just told me that the money's not going to come through right away. So
Well, yeah, but you'll probably get it by the summer.
last I heard from John, unless he has it in hand and knows he's got 335,000, he doesn't want to start, which makes sense, any sort of work. So once that's approved and it's approved by city council and it makes its way, he can, Bill Cannon can start sending out the bids. So spring 27.
We're hoping to start in the fall, hopefully with some tree clearing and starting then, but finishing up in the spring, so.
All right.
All right. And future activities, we applied for a $10,000 grant of Greenfield Savings Banks. Some of the other banks in town have already helped out. We're going to be tabling at the River Valley Co-op, again, change for change. But the beauty of River Valley is both the Northampton store and the Easthampton store does change for change that month. So we get 2 stores. And AARP has a $75,000 grant. I sat down at one of their webinars. Until we're actually constructed, I can't apply for it, but we will definitely need all the qualifications. So that'll be next year. That's it. Any questions? Yes.
What do you do in the wintertime? What you plan to do in the wintertime? Is the park open in the snow, closed?
The park is always open year round. You just can't drive in, but people walk in all the time. And John said the dog park, the gates will be open. People can come in. There are always signs that say enter at your own risk. And the people are walking their dogs all year round anyway. They're more than welcome to come and take their
They don't
dog
plow
all
it.
around.
I guess I was wondering
Do they plow?
if there was going to be
There's the, like the
access in the
specific
wintertime.
access road.
Only by foot, walk to high school and you walk in like everybody else does. Because they close, the roads are not open.
Yeah, the gates won't be open. It's if you walk in.
So my personal opinion, Nantucket needs to get a Friends of Nantucket Park and get people to have it open all year round, like all the other parks, but that's not our job. Any other questions?
Yes. Is that AARP grant for maintenance of dog parks? What's this like? Why are you not able to apply until it's
in the
construction
I
process.
can't show them why why we're supporting the elderly residents in the city. How can I show how many people are actually coming in? How many citizens have dogs? I need statistics, and I need to show that the dog park is actually satisfying a couple of their points.
What would you utilize the 75,000 for once the dog park is constructed?
I would assume, again, maintenance. If some trees fall off or the fence breaks, that's our responsibility. And just if we can get more money, we can get more benches. If I can't get sponsors, agility equipment for the dogs. They don't care what you use it for. They are people also support you for the full year. They will have people come in to help consult, to help you use it. And any questions you have. And I saw that about a year or two ago. They gave it somewhere surrounding towns. They gave the grants. So that's when I saw it.
You said something which made me interested. Did you say that John Mason says that the Friends of the Dog Park are responsible for all maintenance?
Not all.
Where you just said something about a tree falling, and I'm just curious, how is that divided then? What are you responsible for? Do you know what you're responsible for?
That's still part of the memorandum of understanding. So Parks and Rec is going to be responsible for emptying garbage pails that have the poop in it. Parks and Rec is going to be responsible for making sure when it is, if Nonatuck Park is still open, to make sure the parking lot is cleared. If they suddenly get a snowstorm in the middle and we have to clear it, they're responsible.
I see.
For
I see. Maintenance.
things like that. And we're responsible for repairs that happen within. So if dogs are going to make diggy holes, we have to fill in the holes. If fence breaks, trees fall down. If a bench breaks or something, it's our responsibility. Anything within it, once the park is built, is basically ours to repair. John will say, the tree fell down, I have to call the tree people. This is how much it's going to cost to repair it. And we will have to write them a check.
So here they're going to have that memorandum of understanding before the thing opens.
Oh, yeah, and the commission's gonna take a look at it.
Right.
Okay.
Anybody have any questions? This is being voted on. It's a nice meeting. You should come.
I'm very happy to come. Thank you.
I forgot to ask Scott, Tom, John, you okay? No more questions? Okay,
Looks good to me.
Barbie? Now I guess we're gonna go on to the National Pond Fishing Platform. And this is your application.
Thank you, everybody.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, dog park people.
Thanks for having us.
Tiffany,
All know that.
National Pond Steering Committee, and Friends of National Pond. So that fishing platform, we call it viewing platform.
It was originally called the handicap
We don't
access
want
pier.
Where is it located?
It's right there. It's
Oh,
that,
that's
it's
the
that
one.
wooden deck over there right on the
That's
shoreline.
been closed off for over a year.
Yeah,
Because it needs to be repaired.
yeah. Fortunately, the structure itself is fine. It's what needs to be repaired is the decking on it and the railings.
And there's two supports.
Yeah, and there was one support that previously was in the water, which created a Chapter 91 event for us when it was first put in. Now it's going to be structured so that that pier does not go into the water. It will be on land, so that relieves us from the environmental permits that we would.
Got our RDA approval on Monday from Concom. Part of it. So, yes, that's what is not functioning. And this is what is in the water. So there's 3 across there. They're gonna be new ones put in about 1.5 feet, 2 feet back. And remove what is feasible to remove of the old structure. We're going to replace the whole deck. A couple of them need to be replaced, but we thought just better to go across the whole thing. Same with the balusters. There's some missing. Replace them as needed. Pressure treated. We had a contractor quote it just so we would have an idea. It's not a valid quote per se, just we had no idea what it would cost. And we went with option 2, which is what I just described. And that's approximately $20,000.
If you went Trex, it would be a lot more.
Yeah, and would last longer than the wood underneath it that supports it. So we're like, it's not worth it.
Makes sense.
And this was all stemmed by a lot of public outcry about the deck being closed down. I was surprised at how many wedding photos were taken on that deck. Previous member of our committee, Gary Golis, actually had his wedding vows done on that deck. And then I had another friend of mine who reached out to me. I haven't spoken to him since we stopped working at Stop and Shop in 1985. And he had a wedding situation there, and he says, can you look into this? So we were thinking that the CPA committee might be a good place to help out in this charge, because I was really surprised at how many people really like that viewing platform. I never stood on it ever in my life.
That's funny.
Everybody else has.
I have.
Is the other 5,000 coming from your own coffers?
From our fundraising.
Okay. Well, looks good to me. I have no questions. I'm glad you're opening it up for all the future brides and grooms.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Greg.
Who owns it?
City.
That stretch of property over there is generally considered to be under the mayor's office jurisdiction. It's not under parks, unlike Brookside Cemetery immediately on the other side of the road. So previous mayors have desired for that to be within the mayor's jurisdiction. It's viewable from the mayor's office. It's very
Mayor
visible.
Derby had to sign off the authorization for us to do the one.
That explains why he did that,
Yeah, I saw his signature.
because he's, okay.
I believe it's the only stretch of property in Easthampton that's specifically owned by the mayor's office.
That's, didn't know that.
Well, it's owned by the city, but over.
Overseen, yeah, the
Overseen.
body that oversees it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Anybody else have questions?
And as well, we're actively always seeking fundraising. Send out newsletters. Next one's gonna have wedding pictures on it. Mr. Peak.
Yeah,
With his
while we're
permission.
here, I guess this would be a good time to bring up. I don't think this counts as a conflict of interest or anything, but I did get married on that platform myself.
I remember that.
Yeah, so we had our formal wedding was going to be in this place in the Berkshires. It was a really cool site, and we realized partway through that the site, it was in Sandusfield, Mass, and we realized that the property straddled the Massachusetts-Connecticut line, and the building that we wanted to have the wedding in, that we did end up having the wedding in, was actually on the Connecticut side. And I said, there's no way in hell that my wedding license is going to say Connecticut on it. That's disgusting. So, and anyway, just figuring out how to handle it with the town clerk when the property straddles two towns, it was just this whole thing. So Barb, who was still clerk at the time, was like, would you like me to marry you guys? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So we did a little ceremony with just my my immediate family and my wife's immediate family. And then we went to the Silver Spoon, and then we, got ready to pack up to go to do the actual thing the next day. But I'm quite sure, given that they're on Facebook and that some of you are my Facebook friends, that when you have those pictures for the next one, they will probably include some of those pictures. So full disclosure.
Thank you.
I've also reached out and staying in touch with the Rotary Club and the Lions Club, because their name is on the plaque on the rock over there, because they So hoping from some funding from them.
Okay.
And as chairman of the Easthampton Water Pond Steering Committee since 1987, I have to at least throw out how important the CPA has been with our committee and with the city from throughout the time with the pond. Your friendliness to the projects has been absolutely critical, especially with the pond dredge that occurred back in 2009. If it wasn't for the CPA committee, that would not have happened. We just did not have the supporting funds. It was a matching grant with some federally earmarked funds that we didn't have a match, and the CPA was the saving grace to dredging that pond. So that I couldn't say enough about the committee and its involvement with the pond in the past. And Beth here, in her 501c3 group, is really doing a great job when it comes to accessing money for the pond as well. So I know that we go to the CPA for help, but I know that the CPA likes to help people that help themselves too. Same way the federal government grants are. They're friendly to the communities if the communities are willing to buck up for it too. It works that way. So my hat's off to you. Thank you very much.
That's why we're here, and that pond is the centerpiece gem of this community. We're gonna keep it that way.
We're all very proud of it.
Do you realize the camera turned off?
Do I realize
The camera has turned off on the room.
Oh, thank you.
Oops. There any questions?
I don't think so. I think we're good. I think it's a worthy project. Again, we'll vote on this at the next meeting.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
You're welcome.
Appreciate it.
Moving on.
Yeah,
Is there a problem?
yeah, the camera has turned off on the room. I'm just
Turned
trying to figure
around.
it out.
Like spun in the other direction.
Oh,
That's funny.
literally. So it's not off. It's
No.
just facing the wrong
But I don't
direction.
know why it
Why it turned around,
disconnected
yeah.
from. It's hiding.
It looks off from our perspective because there's a little icon with an off camera.
Have a motor in it?
It does.
It is, but that's.
I mean, I guess for whatever it's
Thank
worth,
you.
like it wasn't that
To the
helpful.
library annex historic
Yeah,
update.
give me one quick second to see if I can get this working
Are
again.
we live without that?
We do have a quorum in the room.
Okay.
Can the folks online hear us okay?
Yeah, we can hear you
Yeah,
fine.
we can hear you. We just,
Thumbs up.
yeah, it looks like it's off. There's a little camera with a line through it.
No, see.
I can't hear them.
Yeah, we can't hear you. Are you? They're all muted.
They're giving thumbs up and hand signals.
Tom, say something.
I am saying things and I am not muted.
I am
This
also
whole-
not muted.
Yeah.
Can you hear me?
What is up?
I'm gonna text Dan.
Can you hear
We
me?
don't have to
Yes.
see the camera, just if you don't want to bother with it.
That's really tough also.
Okay, I'm gonna hop out of this call.
How's it going, guys?
Oh, awesome. I've got bronchitis.
Living
I
the
don't know
dream.
what I have, flu or something. Although I think we're actually still on the official meeting, aren't we? Are we being recorded? now? Probably we
I
are.
Oh,
guess
that's
so.
true. Yeah,
Hi, everyone.
yeah. Thank you for reminding us.
Yeah, I just,
It'll be on ECAT next week.
but I was glad that your email, Tom, because I was not going to be able to come in.
Yeah, it was sort of a relief when you said that.
Hello?
Uh-oh. I really think they could have just skipped bothering with the camera.
Now we hear you, John.
Okay.
Okay.
Can you hear me?
so-
Yeah.
Yep, can hear you all. So I'm not sure what's going on with the camera in the room. And I apologize for that. So you guys are coming in through the audio on my computer, and my computer speaker will pick it up. Given that we have a quorum in the room, does the committee feel comfortable proceeding with just audio?
The only vote we have is adjournment, so don't worry about it.
Great. Awesome.
I think the 5 of you can do that.
Okay, so the only update I have for you all I did actually want to take this opportunity just to share one public comment I meant to share earlier about the dog park. This was sent in just so you all have an opportunity to review this written correspondence.
That's in the file too, right?
Yes, yep. Just wanted to make sure that it made its way to the hearing.
Okay.
Excellent. Okay, all right. So I want to just circle back with the committee about historic preservation restrictions for the library annex. We've had some further discussion in the planning department, and my recommendation to this committee is that the planning department actually pursue placing the historic preservation restriction rather than requesting the library to do so on themselves. They essentially don't have a time-focused motivation to do so. And at this time, they are not obligated to do so. If you all recall, we placed it as a future condition on them receiving construction funds for that project. Historic preservation restrictions take 3 years to do. It's a long-term project. The city will certainly be enlisting a consultant for that. But to have the city be the project manager of the restriction process, with obviously the library being the holder, or the person who the restriction is placed upon, the restrictee, with the city's historic commission ideally holding the restriction. So I have not yet had an opportunity to speak with the historic commission, and they are the obvious body to take on this, but they obviously have to be willing to. There are other bodies within the city that legally could hold the historic restriction on a private property, on a piece of private property. But that's a conversation that I think we'd like to start with the Historic Commission on. So that's the update I have for you on that. I'll keep you posted as it comes. That means the planning department would likely put together an application for you all to fund that process of placing the restriction. If you recall, we had thought the library was going to do that either like lumped into their construction ask or as a separate application.
But we also gave them $9,000.
Yes, so that was for the consultant to oversee the
consultant.
construction design process.
Design portion.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Do you have anything to add on that, John? I think we spoke some about this, or anything from the Historic Commission perspective.
Yeah, Eva laid it out really nicely. I think it's rock solid. I completely support that. I really do. And I think the commission will be amenable. We were scheduled to meet yesterday and the meeting just got bumped, so we're a little behind.
And just to remind me, we need this?
Great.
You missed that meeting.
Yeah.
Okay,
Scott had some great ideas, and one of them is to make sure that the library is preserved.
The old
Historically
library.
Preserve the old library before we funded the new library,
but we're not talking about the annex. We're talking about
the old library.
library. Okay.
But one of the restrictions on any more money coming was that the historic preservation was in process. And if the planning board is going to do the application, then that kind of takes it away from the library's board to have to do it, right? Eva?
Yep. So it's condition number 9 of the project funding agreement for this is for the design. Yeah, we had a couple good conversations here at the committee, and I think those were the meetings that you were not present for, Greg. So one of them included a conversation about concern over the future of the old library. A historic preservation restriction has been discussed by this committee and by the library before, and was determined at that meeting to be a favorable approach for the old library building.
And that's an in perpetuity restriction.
Yes.
It's deed restriction, right?
So does that mean that building must stay there in that location generally like it is for all
You
time?
can't tear it down, it has to be preserved. And there is a movement to turn it into a museum and put our own, what do we call it downtown? Historic Society, which has its house down here, will move to the old library. We actually had a meeting on that.
That's the library's current plan for that old
Yeah, that'll
building.
be in years in the future, but that's what it's gonna be.
In perpetuity. Okay.
was Scott's idea. It was great idea, Scott.
I think it's.
It had a lot of, it had a lot of help from Ava too. Just to be clear, but I do that. I mean, just the general notion of that building being certainly, worthy of historic protection in its own right, and certainly in contrast to the new building, and like not wanting, if we're talking about that with the new building, not wanting to, or wanting to make sure we're protecting the old building while we're doing it.
And the old building is losing its purpose, its current purpose by this process, right?
It definitely is. And that's part of my concern, I guess, is that what happens if it has lost its purpose for decades and is generally in
it'll
disrepair,
it'll become a museum, and I think that
in perpetuity? You think it will be a viable function, I guess?
So I will say this committee did not discuss a term limited historic preservation restriction when we wrote condition 9, and condition 9 of this project funding agreement is really as you can see, it's a almost like a flag for a future binding condition. There's something binding in condition 9 as it stands. So term limited historic preservation restrictions are also a legal mechanism, and I think could certainly be discussed probably when the planning department comes forward with a restriction there. But as it stands, right, as it stands, that building could be torn down and something else could be put there.
No, and it's just, I'm thinking through the unintended consequences of our actions and something that is beyond our lifespan.
Well, the Historic Society's been downtown for years, decades. So moving into the library would be there for decades.
Well, I mean, I would say the movement of the Historic Society or the museum process is very much still in the idea phase, as far as I'm hearing it. So I don't think we should make plans based off of that particular idea.
I think it's great. I think the question is that wedge of land is so tricky for parking, for usage. So I don't want to see it get torn down. I think it's a beautiful building. I used to live on Center Street that was like right next to it. And it is absolutely of historic value.
Mm-hmm.
I just deal with endowments that are like in perpetuity, and they have like restrictions on them, and they will be restricted long after I'm gone. And I wonder what future generations of Easthampton will do with that wedge property. And I hope that it's something that's of value, and I hope they're not saying, well, it's been restricted, so we can't do anything with it. We can't even remove some of the historic elements to another location and make use of that, or whatever it is, right? So I guess I would lean towards something that's time limited rather than in perpetuity, but it was really just I was just asking.
No, I think
I'm a troublemaker.
No, I think it's a really great point. There are certainly plenty of evidence of historic preservation restrictions on buildings that have fallen into disrepair because no one can take on the cost of running them or of maintaining them to the point of modern use. So I think it's a really great point for you to bring up and something for this committee to really consider when we embark on the process of putting some kind of restriction on that property.
Yeah, I think the goal for this committee, the spirit of it, if I understood, was just to make sure that it just didn't get sold or it didn't get torn down, or that at least for the near to long term here, we are assured that this property is going to be maintained as its beautiful self. So I'm 100% in favor.
Okay.
Yeah, John.
I'm just wondering, is there a way to put in language that would mean that it could be reassessed on some regular cycle so that a historic commission, CPA would look at it? Can we do it that way? Would it be possible to say in the language, every X number of decades, this needs to be reassessed?
I would make it X number of years, not decades.
That's a great question. I can look into it. Yeah.
Just looking at a possible solution, and because I think I would also support language that allows it to be moved because it's the building, not the location, that's what's important, to my understanding. We'd prefer them to stay together, but I sympathize and recognize, I've seen also situations where well-intentioned historic restrictions actually meant the building ended up destroyed because it wasn't able to be maintained.
Well, there is a funding mechanism which makes me optimistic, and that's us.
Right.
Is there a way that we can, like, what's the word? I'm trying to think of the words that I'm trying to use here. Is there a way that we could basically say that there's a restriction here, and that restriction could only be, like, if there's a case where that restriction needs to be lifted, it could only be, or amended in any way, that could only happen through the historical commission? So that if there was a situation where it became some sort of absolute white elephant that was going to be a gigantic problem, there was some means to go to the historical commission and just say, listen, this was the intent at the time, here's what's changed, can we talk about something? Like, just to give the people of the future the power to restrict it as long as that makes sense, but also the flexibility to acknowledge what might change. I just say this as I don't think actually as familiar as I should be with, like, what our options are here.
Yeah, and to be totally transparent, I'm not yet as familiar with all of the different possible historic preservation like clauses and possibilities there as well. I do know we don't, and we'll be working with a consultant who'll be very familiar with this process. And we'll have I believe there'll be sort of a menu of options for the committee to choose from, but my understanding is that there's not, beyond that menu of options, there's not a ton of room to be creative, because it does ultimately need to be accepted by Mass Historic. And Mass Historic won't accept. My understanding is they're pretty rigid about what they will and won't accept. So we'll be selecting from possible options.
But there has to be oversight of the building. And if it's not the library board, then it could be the historic commission or the planning department. But I imagine in the application, you have to have someone.
The holder of the restriction will hopefully be the historical commission. Yeah.
Right.
So the library will be the restrictee, and then the holder of the restriction will be the city, somebody within the city.
There's no, to Tom's point though, there's no municipal historic restriction that can be placed on it. It's all either sort of state or national historic.
I think it's just
Is
state.
that right? I mean, I don't know.
Yeah.
I think that's where Tom was going for, is like, is there something that we would have more sort of local control to remove? If it goes to the state level or the federal level, it probably is out of our hands. Is that kind of where you were going at, Tom? I mean,
I'm always for more local control
yeah. And
in almost every circumstance.
do you have any insight into like a historic designation that would be like right across like municipal rather than to have to be state designated?
I'm not personally familiar, like, no, but I'm interested to see what our options are.
From John here.
John, did you hear that question? That was
I
for you.
did, and I'm not aware of the solution. I'd be interested to explore our options.
I think if you are applying for historic preservation restriction, it's the state that does it. So the states, if we wanted to amend it in the future, we'd have to find out if that's possible.
Right.
I think that's what the gist of this conversation is, amending it
If you
possible.
were applying for a historic, but is there another path? I guess is there a local path?
I don't.
I mean, I think the issue with local paths, and perhaps this is why precisely you want a local path, is that it's substantially less binding, right? If the historic commission can include it, I mean, it's already included in a historic district, right? They could put in John, how familiar are you with the local historic districts, right? Different than the federal National Register historic.
Familiar in what way?
I'm just curious if I know that and again, I really think I'd need to spend a little more time looking into this, but I know that you can create a local historic district of one building. It's a little counterintuitive, and then you have to set up a separate body. Sometimes it's the same folks as the folks on the historic commission, but you have a separate city committee that is the historic district commission for this local district. And then the town can set the requirements for buildings in that local historic district. So just thinking on my feet here, that could be a way that there could be a local
I think you're understanding the
control.
issue. Yeah, no, just looking for options, and if that were a local control option, I think we'd want it.
Right, but then the municipality could also dissolve that local district, which makes it not
The
really a
strength of the
restriction.
state Preservation restriction is what I want.
But the municipality, I think, is the entity that would want to. It's the it's the public interest that is trying to be upheld against an owner selling it or otherwise repurposing it or destroying it.
But municipalities change, governments change, people change.
Well, and the thing that struck me was how many times I've seen historic structures saved by moving them. And we just don't want to restrict that either. If that's the way to save it, we want to leave that option open.
Yeah, that was on my mind too.
Okay, well, we have to look into it, and Eva will, I'm sure. You have your homework.
It's true. It's true. Yeah. Though, right.
Thank you, Eva.
Yeah, I will certainly look into it. And I'll look towards putting together an application. I think should this committee decide they want to not pursue it at all, I guess we could discuss that at the time of the application, because I don't know if we want to pay a consultant to start a process that this committee decides not to pursue.
I'm only raising it because I didn't want the planning department to get too far down the garden path with a perpetuity restriction that later on somebody, this body or, you know, some future body would have different feelings about it with that. So now's the time. I guess.
Scott? You have a
I was
question?
can you hear me?
Yeah,
I was just gonna say, I mean, I just don't want to go too far the other way. Like, I feel like to me, the bigger risk is, you know, selling the building and for the land and tearing it down because that's the most cost effective thing. Like, and I would just hate to see that happen. So I definitely wouldn't be in favor of scrapping any part of this. But I certainly understand the hesitation to put it in a, you know, a too restrictive environment. That would cause something to be an eyesore later on. But I don't want to go too far the other way.
okay. Anything else on this, guys? Then I think the only thing left is to adjourn. I'll take a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion to adjourn, second. Roll call, John Brunner,
Aye.
Mary Church,
Yes.
Kira Henninger.
Aye.
Ken, Tom Peak,
Aye.
Dan Riss says aye, Greg Rowland,
Aye.
Jay Ryan,
Aye.
Scott Kavanaugh.
Aye.
I just want to make the point that we have all 9 members here.
Yeah, nice job.
This government meeting is brought to you by Eastworks and our local cable subscribers.